In studio for a couple of minutes is Mr. Stephen Jackson, Caddo Commission President. Okay, first question, because everybody is talking about this Paul Elio story that just never seems to end.
He's going to be in town tomorrow.
There's a lot of people, most people, think this was like the worst deal in the history of deals and think the Caddo Commission was crazy to ever do the deal. But you weren't on the commission then.
Correct.
So
I was not.
There's a lot of people on the commission who weren't there when the deal was done.
Right.
It's you, it's Mario Chavez, Mike Middleton.
John Atkins.
Go ahead, please run down the list so we know who's sort of innocent.
Louis Johnson.
Yeah. So you have a couple of us who are innocent on this deal.
Yeah.
Hands clean.
But we want you guys, the innocent ones, we want you to undo this damn deal. Pardon my French.
I agree with you.
Can
let me
you?
just say, I'm not a fan of the contract. And let me be clear and start out by saying that the Caddo Commission does not have a deal with Elio Motors. I think that's a big misconception and misunderstanding out there, is that the Caddo Commission has a direct deal with Elio Motors. There is no deal. There is no agreement. There has been zero public dollars used of taxpayer money that has gone to Elio Motors or Paul Elio. The only taxpayer money that has been used has been to preserve the building, the plant, and that is what the IDB owns, not the Caddo Parish Commission. IDB meaning Industrial Development Board.
But that whole board is appointed by the commission.
The board is appointed by the commission.
So they're like your legs.
I've argued that it's a subsidiary.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Who physically owns the GM plant today?
The Industrial Development Board.
Which is us, me.
Which is
That's my money, right?
It's a quasi-public entity.
Okay.
And yet Stuart Lichter and that group is how involved?
They sublease. Stuart Lichter leases and Elio subleases from Stuart Lichter.
So Lichter is giving money to Caddo Parish. Who is Stuart Lichter giving money to?
Stuart Lichter is giving money in lease payments to the Industrial Development Board, who then remits that check back to Caddo Parish.
Gotcha.
To pay the $7.5 million back.
Paul Elio coming to town. He wants to meet with you guys privately, wants you to sign a non-disclosure agreement. How does the president of the Caddo Commission feel about that?
Well, when you got a cluster, as I call it, and I don't know if we could say that on there.
No, we can't.
Hit the button. Hit the button.
Or when you got a quagmire.
Yeah.
Quagmire is good.
When you got a quagmire like that on air, she said, damn, so I didn't know.
I know.
I don't think that it is appropriate to meet in disclosure, non-disclosure like that. I have questions, but I want those questions answered openly.
What do you think he coming? Don't you think he's coming here to say this ain't gonna happen, guys?
Well, I believe part of what has to happen as a part of what agreement he has with Industrial Realty Group and they have with Racer Trust is so many parties that's involved, it can become very convoluted. Part of the agreement is that they have to inform the local folks involved with what he's planning to do.
Why do you think he does?
I don't think he needs to do it under the disclosure.
Why do you think he does not? What do you think is the end game for Paul Elio to say, let's meet in private. Whatever we're going to talk about, I want you to sign confidentiality agreements. At what point in all of this, bluntly put, is Paul Elio ever bargaining from a position of strength?
Right. I mean, he should not be. And that's, as I told folks, I'm not going to meet on his terms. He needs to meet on the public terms at some point and answer to the public. But again, he does not. And again,
historically,
I don't want to meet with him because we do not have an agreement with him.
But historically, why would he think he cannot do whatever he wants? Because to this point, he's gotten everything he wanted, yes?
Well, we've had an election since then, and times have changed.
Now, he's coming here when he wants to meet in private. If he's coming here to bring good news, he wants to be in public. So this can't be good news, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I think he wants to share probably some proprietary information. I don't know. The information that I receive are through the quarterly reports that we're required to get through the Industrial Development Board from Stuart Lichter.
If Stephen Jackson could undo paperwork, sign new paperwork today, and this would all go away, how would Stephen Jackson like to move forward with the GM plant?
Well, I would have never agreed to, I would have agreed to probably preserve the building, but I would have never put some of the stipulations and caveats that are in the agreement. For instance, the Industrial Development Board can go out and evict Stuart Lichter today, but he still has a 45-day grace period to come in and just purchase the plant outright. That's not fair. He has blocking rights to the plant. That's not fair. Now, he's paying his lease payments, and that gives him, but that's in the lease agreement. I would have never put caveats like that. There are some very broad terms. So to me, the contract between the Industrial Development Board and Stuart Lichter is not in the best interest of public policy, in my opinion. Now, I'm only one of 12, but I would have never put those stipulations in there. I would have put some hardcore deadlines in place to say, look, we need to see some action by this time frame, or you out.
At the end of the day, is this just all these contracts and all this quagmire, as someone so eloquently put it? Is it really just a way that a lot of people with money are making money out of nothing, and that nothing's ever going to happen out there?
Well, I've long ago said that the only people I think are benefiting are the attorneys, because you come in, you got a lot of confusion, and you have to pay the attorneys to figure it out. And who drew up the contract?
I mean, the
attorneys.
only people, it seems, who aren't getting anything out of this are
the public.
Us.
The public.
Yes.
Who we did this in the best interest of the public interest. And so we need to, I agree, we need to try to get, I don't know about, some folks are saying go get the feds. I think we got local resources here. There are local authorities here that can do.
Would you call on the sheriff to do an investigation?
I mean, he has the ability to do an investigation. I have a call into his office. He said he's done one. I'd like to see the information. I have not seen the information. All I've seen are the contracts. But, you know.
The scary thing is that this is probably, it's probably just all perfectly legal.
Yeah.
Stephen, one thing that everybody's also talking about, we had the only General Motors plant that was still fully equipped.
Correct.
Are you real concerned that they're going to start selling off all that equipment? And can you do anything to stop it?
Well, there is a concern. I cannot say right now. My interpretation of the contract is we have no claim to the equipment. That's a flaw in the contract that I see. We have no claim to the equipment. It's not in the contract. And so where can the Caddo Parish Commission come in and insert our authority on that? Because when you have a lease agreement,
side,
it's
they're
a
certainly
contract.
nobody wants to renegotiate but you.
Right.
It's probably not going to renegotiate.
Right. And so we have to make sure the pressure is on the Industrial Development Board, who owns the plant, to ensure that the equipment is not sold. And so we'll be making sure that the Industrial Development Board does their part.